Second type of nutrition found in plants is saprophytic plants of nutrition, right? Sapros means rotting, phyton means plant. Phyton, now that you will be going to higher classes, you will have to break up. These scientific words always have a meaning, as I'm, have been continuously telling from my first class. You always try and break up the word and you can yourself understand what is the meaning. Sapro means rotting, phytic or phyton means plant. So basically, they are usually white in color, obviously, because if they would have been green in color, they would have made their own food. So obviously they are either yellowish white, white or pale white or milky white or whatever, they are usually white in color, the plants. But the flowers are colorful. So an obvious question, how come, the entire plant is white and the flowers colorful? Well, the flowers could be colorful because they have certain pigments. That's what I'm saying, that nature has been made up in such a way that it throws surprises to us in each and every possible way, right? So the flowers might be colorful, but there are also reasons why the flowers are colorful. Can any of you tell me why the flowers are colorful?
The color actually is not like green comes from the chloroplast, but from the other two plastids they get colors. So if green is not there, meaning the plant can't make its own food, but because it has the other plastids, it can give color.
Correct, right. No, the reason why it is colorful, as I said, they, God has designed, or maybe nature, the way it is, why flowers are always colorful most of the time, to attract insects towards it. The reason why flower, yes, Karthik, to attract birds and flowers, correct. So that, more colorful it is, the more insects would come and sit on it and help them in pollination. That is the reason why most of the flowers are either colorful or they have a very good scent. Right? These are all due to the presence of plastids and chemicals, certain oils that's there within them, which lends them a particular aroma or scent. Right? That's because of need for pollination, or else their species would not grow. Right? Okay. So coming back to saprophytic plants, they do not have green leaves, obviously. Uh, that's the reason why they are saprophytic. Otherwise, they would have been autotrophic. Many a times, they do not have leaves also. Leaves are also absent. Right? Okay. They live off rotting substances. Maybe, there could be times when you give them a proper place, proper nutrition, but they would only survive on rotting substances. It could be rotten plants. It could be, rotten, matter lying in the forest or in the soil. So it would grow on that. They are found especially in dark, shady areas in tropical countries, obviously. Yes, Priscilla.
Then they're decomposers?
Kind of. You may call it decomposers because they grow on decomposed materials. You could call them. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, where would you find highest number of maximum rotting happen? Why does rotting, जिसको हिंदी में बोलते हैं पचना, कुछ चीज पच जाता है, गल जाता है, का क्या कब होता है? Only when the place is very high in humidity, water content is very high, there is, the place is a little dark. That is when, the place, that area, rotting happens very fast, right? So you would obviously find these kind of saprophytic plants in shady areas in tropical countries, because tropical countries are very high in humidity, right? The humidity in the air is very high. So the roots have a fungi. So the roots have a fungi which digest dead and decaying materials. So normally the roots have a kind of fungi. The roots of these saprophytic plants have a kind of fungi staying within it, which basically digest the dead and decaying materials on which it grows. And then the fungi produces the digestive, ignore the H juices, to convert it into sugar, which is food for the plant. So just imagine the process. Let me just tell you. First of all, okay, let me give you an example, then it would be easier to understand. An Indian pipe, maybe coral roots, right? These are classic examples of saprophytic plants. What happens here in case of an Indian pipe? Here, just this grows on maybe dead, decaying. Saprophytic plants are saprotrophic. Yes, you may call, because saprophyte means, phyton, as I said, means plant, and trophy means which derives its nutrition. Trophy means nutrition, right? You may call it Unmana. So in the case of an Indian pipe, it grows in dead and decaying, maybe there's some decaying plant matter or animal matter or whatever, in the soil. So it grows there. Now, this Indian pipe does not have leaves, or maybe even if it has leaves, the leaves would not be of green color. That's the reason why it has to make its own food. How to make its own food? Now the root of the Indian pipe will have a fungi within it. So what if the fungi does? The fungi though will have to draw food from these, waste rotten material. It has certain digestive juices. The fungi has certain digestive juices and is capable of converting those those dead decaying material into sugar. Then that sugar is being sent by the root to the stem, and then this is how the entire plant gets its nutrition, right? uh, why this plant always look down? I'm not too sure about that, Karthik. I'm not too sure about that. Okay, maybe they don't need sunlight. That's the reason why they don't look upwards, right? They could grow in any other direction. You must have seen, uh, that, plants which require sunlight always, turn towards sunlight, because the green color. Yes, Karthik.
Ma'am, I have a doubt.
Yes, ask. Please ask.
Ma'am, can a bird eat heterotrophic plants like insectivorous plant or pitcher plant?
A bird does not eat plants, no? Bird will eat insects.
No, ma'am, as you told, birds eat plants to make pollination.
No. I did not. No. You got me wrong, Karthik. As I said, birds will not eat flowers. What birds do is that birds help in pollination. How do they help in pollination? By sitting on the flower. By sitting on the flower.
Mom, they can take the nectar also, ma'am.
Yes, taking the nectar and, taking the pollen grains. You must have all studied about pollination. The pollen grains plays the most important role.
Yes, ma'am. We studied in class.
Yes. So by sitting on the flower, it takes the pollen grains, and then again it will sit on another flower and transfer the pollen from one flower to another flower. So this is what I meant, that, when a bird sits, hummingbird will obviously take the nectar from the flower, right? When it takes the nectar, what happens is that all the pollen grains stick on its beak. Now it goes to the next, hovers around the next flower. So all the, the pollen grains get mixed up. So that is how pollination happens from one flower to another. That is why flowers are colorful and they have beautiful aroma and beautiful scent. Okay, Karthik, got it? Pollination happens in case of heterotrophic flowers also. Otherwise, how will they spread their species? Correct? All right. Now, so Indian pipe and coral roots are classic examples of saprophytic plants, or maybe plants having saprotrophic mode of nutrition, right? So as I said, they are usually white in color. You will always find them that the entire plant is white in color. Flowers could be colorful. Flowers could also be white in color, right? They could have leaves, but most of the time they do not have leaves. And even if they have leaves, they could be, marginal leaves, as in, they could be a little whitish, yellowish in color. And they live off rotting substances. They would only survive on rotting substances, right? They are because they have that fungi on their roots, which has the digestive juices to convert the dead decaying material into sugar. First, the conversion happens in the roots. Then the sugar is sent through the stem to the remaining part of the plant for nutrition. Okay? So saprotrophic mode of nutrition is clear to all.